Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Roundup for our fourth series. Here to bring you all of the action from the A&DBBL Season 9. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely sunny Monday evening. Sunny where I am, depends where you are. We are here. We're back once again to do our usual weekly thing where we go through all of the action. But obviously, this week we can't go through all of the action because the season has not started yet. No, it is time for us to do our preview. We're going to give you a few bits of information about how the league's working this year. We are then going to fly through, and I mean fly through, all 32 teams that have registered for this season. We're going to dive through each one, give you our gut feelings on them, and then we'll let everybody get to whatever else they want to do on a Monday night. I'm not here on my own. No, we did that for one season and it was an absolute train wreck. No, I'm here with two faces and voices that you will recognize from the New Dice Please podcast, from the previous roundups. Two absolute gentlemen of the game. It is Mr. Scott Bryan and Mr. Tom Hovell. Gentlemen, we are back for another season. How are we feeling?
Oh, excited. Let's do it.
Very excited. Not quite as excited that a little bit of fluid will come out, but very excited.
There we are. We are 2.5 minutes in, and we're talking about fluids. What a season we're going to have. Well, let's dive into some information then. Let's share a few bits and pieces about how the season's going to run. So, for anyone who is watching, who's maybe not taking part in the season, or is joining us as a prospective fan, it is our 9th season. We have 32 coaches, a joint record high. We've had 32 coaches for the last previous seasons of the A&DBBL. And the way that the season is working this year is that we will split everybody up into 4 groups of 8, where everybody will play each other once. So that is 7 games each in the group, which will then be split into 2 playoffs. The top 4 will go into the Champions Cup and the bottom 4 will go into the conference for a 16-team knockout bracket to see who is the conference winner and who is the A&DBBL winner season 9. A few things on how that's going to work then. So, like I said, we have seeded everybody into 4 pots. The way the seeding works, if you're not familiar, it's something we've been doing for the last season now. And it's just our way of trying to make sure that we have a rough kind of perceived balance of ability within the group. So it is based on people's performance in the A&DBBL in previous seasons. We look at 4-season rolling bracket. And we do look at the last 4 seasons, not a coach's last 4 seasons. So we have some people who have only played 1 or 2 seasons, and their performance is based on that. So it's not perfect, but we do have a lot of champions in the top pot, and we have a lot of new players in the bottom pot. So it does kind of roughly work out. We will draw from the bottom season up into the 4 groups. The 4 groups being called Darkside, Longship, Middenheim, and Swamp Dome are the names of the 4 groups that we have. Like I said, we'll start on the bottom pot. We work our way up. This draw will take place on Saturday. We're not doing the draw now. Don't get excited. Saturday, 10 o'clock in store, and we'll be live on Twitch. We will be doing the live draw so you can see who everyone is going to face, and then maybe some games will come immediately afterwards. Once all the names are drawn, we'll draw the fixtures, and then people will be good to play. Now, the pots this year are even more important because you will all be aware all A&DBBL coaches have been asked to select a captain. The captain has to be a lineman positional, and it has to be a new lineman positional, not a redrawn lineman positional. And the captains will get a little bonus to start the season with. Now, if you are in pots 1 or 2, your captain gets 2 SPP to start the season. If you are in pots 3 or 4, your captain gets 3 SPP to start the season. So if you're in pots 3 or 4, you could possibly random a skill on that player straight away before we have even started. If you're in pots 1 or 2, you're 1 completion away from being able to do that. Or maybe you wait for an MVP and get a chosen skill straight away. So very important, get your captains chosen by Thursday at midnight. That is the deadline for you to put a little C next to your captain, and then we will go in and we will give them the relevant SPP. So what are the pots? Well, here are the pots. So this is based on the last 4 seasons. This is based on performance over the last 4 seasons. So pot 1, we have 5 Rules of Dodge, Bitey Ducks, Disco Danger Rats 2, Electric Boogaloo, I-Town Gougers, Foxhole Road Scavengers, I Hate Blood Bowl, World's Edge Berserkers, and Zorn Uxul Dawizar. Tell me if I've said that wrong. Pot 2, we have Blob, Blob, Blobby, Blobby, Blob, Blob. We have the Buffalo Biggins, Greystone Gladiators, Harlequins, Orphic Gladiators, Smoking a Pancake, Tipsy Tankards, and Wreckham AFC. Pot 3, we have the Argartha Mewers, Bonehead Blitzers, Doombringers, Inglorious Pustards, Melton Mudpackers, Snotball Furies, Wildermere Wasps, and Wolverswampton Shamblers. And in pot 4, Blood for the Eagle Gods, Elf Preservation Society, In for a Penny, In for a Pound, Claws of Corn, Lavender Linctus, Huntington's Folly, Skeksis Carrying Pieces, and Waldenhof Blood Knights. Here we go. That is the pots. So remember, pot 1 and 2 get 2 SPP, pot 3 and 4 SPP. Already seeing in the chat, if you're looking at this and thinking I'm top seeded, you're not necessarily. These pots have been organized in alphabetical order, so you do not know where in the pot you sit, Little Bread Boy 7. I already made sure that nobody could do that because I'm not the second ranked coach in this league, that's for sure. So that is a bunch of information there. One more bit of information to give you all is around the very first game that you will all be playing. That first game that you play, and we announced this in the Discord, so all the details are there, all the little terms and conditions. Every single coach will have access to an APOC in that first game, whether your team allows it or not. So this is our little gift to everyone to try and make sure that at least one of your players makes it out of game 1. The APOC works like a normal APOC. If you already have an APOC in your team, then this basically does nothing. However, we will reduce your team value by 50k for your first game. So it means everybody has a free APOC in game 1 to try and keep you all alive. All the details are in the Discord. Ask one of the admins if you want more information on that. But it's a little bonus for everyone. Just for the first game that you play, your first fixture, it will apply to that team. So many little perks that we're giving you this season. That is me rambling for a long time. So why don't we dive in, Mr. Bryant, Mr. Hovell? Let's dive into the teams that we have to review here. We're going to go through the teams in Discord order. So it's in order of registration, which means that as often is the case, first one registered is the Bitey Ducks. It is the Bitey Ducks coach being myself. This is my 7th season and the Ducks' 5th season in the league. Highest finishing for the Ducks has been 4th place, with some relatively okay performances over the seasons, but a very difficult end to last season. It's a redrafted team, Scott, but it's a redrafted team with only redrafted player and just kind of made the most of the money. So it's a bit of a gamble going in being one of the highest valued teams in the season.
Yeah, you know which skink's going to have a target on his head, don't you? Straight away. If that doesn't have a bounty by the weekend, I not done my job properly. Yeah, and I noticed you've got 3 rerolls in there as well. Not that you like to burn your 3 rerolls, and 3 dedicated fans to get the money coming in nicely. Yeah. We know the Ducks. The Ducks can turn up and absolutely roll people, or they can get rolled, which is the wondrous thing about them. Yeah, I had a quick look at some of the other teams earlier, Chris, and sorry to disappoint. It's not one I lose sleep over. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, bit similar. It's like straight away you look at that and go, right, let's just target that one. Number 7, your time's going to be up pretty damn soon. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. You've been playing quite a lot of the Lizards recently, and you've done pretty well in tournaments. So be interesting to watch and see. Also, just quickly, in regards to wanting to see the pots and all the little extra things, we'll stick it in Discord for you later.
Absolutely, yes. We'll put the pot up in Discord. I'll post that after this stream so everybody can see it, so you can see where you sit. Ducks fortunate to be sitting in pot 1, I think, but the Ducks have had a pretty consistent season. Yeah, there's a lot of money sat there. There's a lot of team value sat there in this team, and yeah, not necessarily feeling overly confident about that. But I guess we'll see. That's the
Just
Ducks in.
yeah,
Oh yes,
okay, yeah. I was just going to move it on, Chris. Just conscious of time as well, and I don't think anybody in pots 2 and 3 or even 4 against the Ducks might be thinking, "Oh, it's a bad day."
No,
Might be thinking there's a scalp on the table.
I think the Ducks are sitting waiting to get pounded, to be honest. There's not a lot of skill in that team, so we're going to see how the first few games go. But let's move on to Coach Acredes. It is Mr. Scott Phipps, and it is his Chaos Dwarf team. Zorn Uzkul Dawiza, I think is how we're going to be saying it. Scott, 4th place finishes, several 3rd place finishes, several 2nd place finishes. He is the most successful coach in the A&DBBL without a title to his name, coming very close in almost every season. Looking at this Chaos Dwarf team, Tom, what do we think? Do we think this is the season that he turns it around?
Possibly. It's an interesting one because he was saying how he wasn't particularly happy with having the dwarf Flamesmith in there, but feels that he has to have it in there because of just needing extra armor in there. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this team. It's one that he's been looking forward to painting up and getting back on the pitch, I believe. So yeah, this could be his year. Could be his year.
Scott, I feel like every year we say it could be his year. Now, if you look at his record and how he tends to do, he is on schedule to hit the final. It's almost every other season that he makes the final. He was semi-finals last year. So if he goes on his normal kind of records, then there is a final for this team.
There could be if he goes on that record. However, if I put my sycophantic lickspittle hat on, I'll say, yeah, it's going to be the fine. The championship is there, 6-0 every match. I think a beauty. I'll go put my realistic hat on and say, I think Scott will do well if he gets to the championship knockouts. New team. That's the way I'm thinking of it, Mr. Scott Phipps, as in Coach Creedy's in the chat. And he says, always the bridesmaid. And yeah, I think for any new team and any new roster this season that hasn't been redrafted, I think it's going to be a challenge to get out of the pool. But good luck, everybody. Just shout out to chat, by the way, all 19 crazy fools who are loving this, whether you are a Blood Bowl coach or not. And for anybody listening who we don't usually shout out, whether you're in Suffolk, the UK, Europe, the global, including Lord Pat Van Der East and everybody else, hello there.
A strong team, the Chaos Dwarfs. Will they be the one that brings Scott his title? Because we know he doesn't redraft. We will have to see as the draw takes place. Moving on then, last season's runner-up, it is Luke with the Orphic Gladiators, redrafting this team for a 2nd season after a very, very strong season in season 8. Went unbeaten from game 2 all the way to the final, and then losing the final to a very strong vampire team. This is a very, I mean, Scott, this is a team that you know very well. After one of the greatest games of Blood Bowl I think I've ever seen. Me and Tom watching the 4-3 win that Luke got in the quarterfinal here. He is redrafting a lot of very, very good players.
He is. It's a beautiful mix of filth. This is. I absolutely love this. This is one of the 2 teams I really don't want to be drawn against. And if you look at the team value, he's only going to be giving away sort of 200k. It's not that much, plus allowing for the APOC. So yeah, good luck, Luke. Be nice. Don't kill all my players on turn 1. Thank you.
Tom, I mean, he's got block on one big guy, guard and stand firm on another. But then actually look at probably the more terrifying positions in this team. 2 heads and extra arms on a goblin makes it for a very good throw teammate risk. And horns block tackle on a Skaven makes for a very good blitzer. Like the fear in this team doesn't necessarily come from the big guys.
No, and also that dark elf, dodge, block, and iron hard skin. Blimey, that's a lethal little piece, a thing that's going to be very dangerous to. Can't really get that off the pitch quite easily, unfortunately. Yeah, having block on a rogue straight out of the blocks is going to give him a real advantage, I think. Best of luck. It's
very
again, it's one of my, it's up there in my top two as the one that I don't want to be up against.
And I think a scary thing as well, because this team reached the final in only Luke's second season, which means for a coach who has finished, I think, 6th and 2nd in his 2 seasons, he is in pot 2. So pot 1 coaches are looking at this as someone who is less likely to avoid. So you know, that is going to be a tricky team to face. We move on, though, to Mr. Jack Huns and the Argartha Mewers. It is Jack's 3rd season. It is the Argartha Mewers' 3rd consecutive season. He reached the Champions Cup last 16. He won the conference last season, and he again is bringing back some very strong players. 2 very good Valkyries, one with a stat increase, block and guard on both of his all-foreigners out of the bat, and a lot of sitting SPP. Tom, this is a very, very solid team. He's had to take the sacrifice of having what is I think only 11 players, and 2 of them being beer bores. So he has had to make a bit of a sacrifice here to get the rerolls in order to field those 4 redrafts. Will it be worth it?
And it's his 3rd and final season, I see in chat. So Jack, we're fingers crossed you're going to go far with this team. You only ever play Norse, and I know hopefully I won't come across you, because I seem to always end up playing against you in be it tournaments or in league. But hopefully you're one of I think you're one of 2 Norse teams in the league. There seems to be quite a nice widespread of different teams. I know that Dark Elves, we've got 5 teams of Dark Elves in this season.
It's going to be slightly terrifying, some of the ones we're coming up against. Scott, Jack's got 20 touchdowns he's redrafting here. He's got 10 casualties. It's a terrifying few players to bring back. First game's going to be key. If he can get through that first game, get some cash, maybe add so that he's not playing those beer bores, think he could have a good run?
Yep, I do. He's got an APOC. He's got the 3 rerolls. As you said, as long as he plays it and uses those beer balls for maybe a bit of positioning, a bit of screening, they are going to take a kick. So just got to be accepting it. But he's got one of the players to watch out for in that Valkyrie. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Cilia or Sylvia, whatever her name is. But dodge, block, sprint on movement 8 already. That's 1 turn touchdown in the bag. So it's. I think Jack, I think he could do well this season.
Catch, dauntless, pass, strip ball, dodge, block, sprint, movement 8, edge 3. That is a blitzer and a scoring threat. That is everything. So that is going to be very key to keeping that positional alive as much as possible. Moving on then to the A&DBBL's most successful coach here. 3 titles for John over the 8 seasons. Bringing together a Orc team, a new build, briefly threatened to bring back his very, very scary vampires who won season 9, season 8 even. Scott, it's a pretty kind of standard Orc build here, ready sort of out the blocks to give it a go. We know that John has played this team in tournaments quite a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Looking at John's record, John tends to win the league every 3 seasons, 2, 5, and 8. Does that mean that we can all kind of calm down and not worry too much about season 9?
No. When you've got John Reader with 3 rerolls and 6 dedicated fans, he's going to be buying, the positionals before long. He'll get the extra big and blocker. He'll get maybe his thrower and a few goblins for cannon fodder. So if you're going to play Mr. Reader, play him quick.
Tom, you are someone who has played Orcs yourself. We'll get to your team later. What do you think of this build? He's got 3 blitzes in there. He's got 3 big uns. He's got no goblins in the lineup to start with. It's something that you would have gone for?
No, it wouldn't. It's an interesting one because it's like he hasn't maxed out any of his positionals, because obviously you get 4 blitzers and 4 blockers. So it's an interesting lineup here, and he's clearly, as Scott's saying, he's going for a lot of dedicated fans to try and get some cash in early. In chat, it sounds like it's going to be a multiple season run for this team. So maybe he's playing the long game on this one.
It has been noted in the chat that he has currently got his big and blocker as his captain. Don't worry, we'll sort that. We're not giving that any SPP any earlier than it needs it. That's absolutely fine. Good luck to John hunting a 4th title, already the most successful coach that we have in the league. Can he run away with it? We will see. Moving on then to, it is the Inglorious Pustards, Nick Footer's team. Nick's 6th season with the A&DBBL and his 3rd with this very mutation-heavy Pustards team. Looking at the players that he has brought back, there's a lot of random mutations in there. We know that random mutations have worked well in the past. The Tetanus Hotspews was a particular successful team, reaching a final. Tom, there's kind of a mix of everything here. A bit like he was last season. It's going to be a tricky team to face, mainly because you've got to remember what all of those mutations do.
Yeah, it's a disgustingly glorious randomness in there, isn't it? It's going to be, there's lots and lots of things in there that are going to be tricky for a lot of people. So there's claws throughout that whole group. So that's going to be horrible. There's tentacles in there, very long legs, monstrous mouth, big hand, thick skull. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to play. It does look like it's going to be a tricky one again. There doesn't seem to be an easy team to play against.
No, Scott, I haven't seen an easy team yet. Would you? How would you kind of approach this one? Then you're bringing a bit more edge to this season. There's only one or two lots of tentacles in there. It's a strong redrafted roster. This for Nick.
It is a strong redrafted roster, and I know Nick's only playing one reroll. You know, the man believes in the purity of the dice, and I fully commend that. So yeah, again, it's one of those. It's very, and this is the biggest compliment I can give it. It's very Scott Norman-esque in its insanity, stroke genius, stroke Blood Bowl brilliance. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge because it has so many options available to it. So we shall look forward. A bit of maybe a bit of tension in chat as well. People believing that John Reeder is not following the due process and selecting goblins. Controversy already. Love it.
No goblins in that team. We'll see whether he sticks to that or whether he gets tempted by any kind of goblin shenanigans. Let's move on then, and we head to our first stunty showing of the season. It's Snotlings. It is the Melton Mudpackers. It is Mr. Andy Howell. It's Andy's 6th season with us, I believe. I've put Andy's 9th season in my... No, it's not. It's Andy's 4th season. My notes are all over the place. It's Andy's 4th season, and it is Andy's 4th different team as well. He's run a different team in every season he has brought to the league so far. This is his first stunty going, and he has gone deep into the stunties with Snotlings. Lots of Snotling linemen here. He has gone for a stilty. He's gone for a hopper and a flinger. There's a pump wagon in there. Andy is out, Scott, to have a good time this season.
He is
the team that is, this is going to be fun.
I've just seen his treasury. You know, if you play Andy, you're playing Morg. Sorry, Andy, but you know you're going to do that. It's just sitting there waiting. So, can you remind me what's org Statman Tom? Is it Morg? You see 350?
Yeah, I think he's 350.
I believe Andy is our lowest team value in the league this season, starting on day one. So he is coming in
380. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, 380. Oh, Andy, you might want to have a little drop a reroll. Too late now. But yeah, Carl's called it out as well. You can see the Morgan Skitter combo coming in this one. Loving it.
Tom, it's a team we had a similar team last season. It's not going to be quite to the extent that we had the inducements for last season's Snotling team, but it's a team where you're going to be playing half Snotlings, you're going to be half whatever comes up against you. Difficult to prepare against sometimes. How do you think Andy will get on?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because he's only got 2 rerolls. No Apothecary, although he's can have one. He's going to have one on the first game. And bear in mind, he's got a number of secret weapons in there. So it's going to be the first couple of games are going to be pretty kind of dangerous for him to see how many of the little fellas that he gets squashed in the games.
We will see how he gets on. He will, of course, be able to immediately put a random skill on that snotling lineman of his that is his captain. Possibly a Dauntless in there could give him a very, very entertaining day.
I think so.
But we will see. Good luck to Andy and our first stunty coach that we have come across. Next up, then, is Mr. Dave Rue. It is the Foxhall Road Scavengers. Dave Rue, former finalist, runner-up in last season's Super Cup, switching Shambling Undead to Necromantic Horror for this season. And it's we've got two Necromantic Horror teams coming in. 2 flesh golems, 2 werewolves, a wraith, and a ghoul runner for this particular setup. Tom, you are our normal go-to expert when it comes to necromantic horror. How does this kind of look to you? Is this a roster that you would happily play? He's got the 2 rerolls in there, so he's in a good position to start with.
Yeah, nice balanced middle of the road setup really, because you've got those flesh golems for as your first line of defense. You've got the werewolves that go around causing trouble, and you've got a ghoul runner in there. So yeah, nice and straightforward by the looks of things. And as we know, Dave can play for most teams exceptionally well. So yeah, one to look forward to is to see what the games come.
Scott, Dave obviously has had a few seasons now with Shambling Undead, so those kind of undead teams in general, not new to him. Necro, a very different kind of style of play in some ways, but he's got werewolves here. He's lost a couple of ghoul runners, maybe not too different, maybe an easy one to transition to.
I think he's coming from a good base. Dave knows his teams inside out as well. It's what you'd expect for a starting roster. 2 rerolls. He's gone for the 2 wolves as opposed to the two ghoul runner build. And yes, Necro are expensive. We know that, but this is the sort of team with the sort of coach who season 9, season 10, if he's keeping them around for a 2-season build, could be very ominous indeed.
8 teams down, 24 teams to go. We are flying through the teams this season. Keep letting us know what you think, which teams you're liking the look of in the chat. We will go to our 9th team then. It is JD. It is the Doombringers. It is JD's 6th season, his 2nd with the Dark Elves. He took a season off last season to bring back Norse instead. So he's had a season away from them. But looking at some of the skills that he has managed to bring back here, a heavily skilled Dark Elf team. Tackle and Frenzy on one of the Assassins, block, tackle, kick, diving tackle on one of the Witch Elves, and then lots of linemen just that he's decided to bring back with some handy skills in there. Scott, you are also bringing Dark Elves back. Obviously, he's got the benefit of the redraft here and the extra money that comes with that and the extra skills that come with that. How is this team looking to you? Is this a team that you would like to have built come the end of the season?
There are some skills on some positionals I would definitely love, especially block tackle on the Witch Elf. I don't know if I'd have redrafted a Blitzer with just Shadow in as well, but every now and then it does work. If you look at as well, Dauntless as well and Pro on a Dark Elf lineman. So I think JD, has done. He's committed. He's sticking by these guys. He's really going for it. My one note of caution, which I'm sure many people in chat, or many people have not noticed in chat because I haven't said anything, one reroll already. So he's got 3 dedicated fans. So I'd assume after the match 3, or at least after match 2, there might be another reroll coming in there. Or if he uses some of that SP and builds up as well. You never know. He could get a leadership on there as well to get that extra. Nope, because that's just a passing one. Ignore that.
Tom, let's have a look at the Witch Elf in person then. Dodge, Frenzy, jump up, block, tackle, kick, diving tackle. That is a player that you are going to fear coming up against. That is also only an armor 8 player on a team that has a lot of armor 9. So that is going to be a bit like the skink we saw in the Ducks team. that's going to be a target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in fact, there's quite a lot of armor 8 on there because he's got both assassins as well and the 2 runners as well, which are armor 8. But apart from that, I still don't want to face it. It looks horrible. Move on.
It is a nasty team. The Eggfort Owlbears came up against them a couple of seasons ago and did not do very well. All the best to JD. See how he gets on in his second season with this team. Moving on then to Graham and his Lavender Lynxes coming back for Graham's third season, the Lavender Lynxes' second season here with this Amazon team. A carefully built Amazon team by the looks of it. He's redrafted a few players with chosen skills, a lot of block that he's managed to get in there. So a lot of blodgers already. Where he hasn't got block, he's managed to get wrestle in. Even a line woman with Frenzy and Dauntless and 5 sitting SPP is going to be a impressive player to come up against. Scott, this is kind of an interesting lineup. Graham has always had... Whenever I've watched Graham's games, he's always had some of the worst luck that I think I have ever seen of someone. But this will be his most significant redraft with us. So this is looking like a strong starting point for him.
This is a ridiculously strong starting point, Chris. 3 rerolls, and it's only really, he's got an Eagle line woman there, Edge 4. But then you've got dodge. So with dodge reroll, 75% chance of passing on a 4+. You've got block and frenzy still. So to have someone like that on the bench is good. And as you said, he's got a line woman with frenzy and dauntless. You could sort of make that person your captain, and suddenly you've got 7 SP ready. A couple of touchdowns, maybe an MVP, and then you'd be looking at a third skill. So I think it's going to give Graham a good starting point for the season. Good luck, Graham.
Just a reminder on the captains, they have to be new linemen to the team.
Sorry.
So he won't be able to give the extra, but he has still got 5 sitting SPP that he's 1 touchdown, 1 casualty. He's not far away from just getting towards getting another skill there. Tom, you've played Amazons before. You've seen them before. This is a good lineup for Graham. How do you think he's going to get on with this? Do you think he's got kind of enough there to have a strong base?
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of playing him in last season. Had a great 3-all match. He definitely knows how to play these Amazons, and that was before they had all these skills on them as well. So I think Graham might be one of those ones that sneaks under the radar, maybe a little bit quiet in the start of the season, but starts to build on that. So maybe one to watch.
I would love to see Graham have a very strong season, because I know that when he's had the dice and the luck on his side, he's played incredibly well and got some really good results, but he has really had some bad luck over previous seasons. So here is hoping 4th time is the charm for Graham. Let's now go back into the world of stunties, our second stunty team. It is Carl. It is the Snotball Furies. Carl's first season without...
Third stunty team.
Yeah, it's third.
We're not counting third, Chris.
Third? What?
Yeah, this is third.
Third?
You've had Scott Norman.
No, we haven't actually.
We haven't had him yet. Apologies, that was me jumping ahead.
Yeah, it's almost as if I wrote the notes in order so I knew when we were coming up to them, isn't it? It's almost as if I prepared, guys.
It's almost as if we're not paying attention as usual. We're looking at the shiny lights.
Well, it's the second stunty team that we've come across. So...
Back to Carl.
It's his first season without the Plague Brigade, which he won the Super Cup with at the end of last season. His first stunty outing. And he has gone for what I think is a very, very bold 6 ogres to start with and no rerolls. This is going to be a team to watch, because I think, as he says in the chat, rerolls are for tier 1 cowards. Ogres are a bit like vampires with the bloodlust. Ogres are a very all or nothing. When you never roll those ones and you pass all of those bonehead rolls, then there is no problem. When you don't, your team can collapse quite quickly. So it's a very all or nothing build here. Tom, it's brave. It goes in with 6 strength 5s. That's going to be one of the strongest fronts of any roster that any of us will face this season. But it is a risk.
Yeah, huge risk, like you say. If say 3 of those bonehead, things start to fall apart. You have to kind of plug the gaps with the nobblers, which is going to be an interesting kind of one to see. It is kind of that kind of team that could potentially just have a really strong first half and then just crack in the second half.
Scott, it's interesting. Ogres, they don't have the swarming that you get with Snotlings, but they do have that stronger front. A lot of mighty blow there. How do you think he'll fare against some of the other stunty competition that we've got? Because we've got lots of very different stunty builds this season. Do you think he'll kind of do quite well up against the Snotlings with this? Will that extra strength give him what he needs?
I think the extra strength will give Carl what he needs, not just against the stunties, Chris, but against most other teams. As you rightly said, it's if he can avoid rolling the boneheads. But I take my hat off. I really, really do. I think to take this is an incredibly brave, and it's a beautiful decision. So well done, Carl.
All the best to Carl. He said he's bought 6 bonehead tokens ready for when the inevitable happens. I don't think I've ever witnessed a game where every ogre has boneheaded in one turn. But Carl, I would love to see it. It would be very entertaining. Let's move on then, and we're going to go to the one and only Mr. Scott Bryan. It is smoking a pancake. Dark Elf team, Scott swapping Wood Elves for Dark Elves, keeping on the agile team theme that he has gone for so far. Former conference runner-up and Champions Cup quarter-finalist. This is probably the highest armor team that you have ever brought to the league.
It is. It's ridiculous. I have to stop myself when an opposition rolls an 8 on the armor roll. I don't always have to remove my player from the pitch. So that's going to be a nice change. For those Dark Elf players, you can see I've just gone with the typical 3 Blitzer, 1 Witch Elf, who won't be the captain, by the way. 1 build, so 2 rerolls, a million, see how it goes. Yeah. Early days in terms of the practices with them, but so far not too bad. Just fine-tuning the playing style. By the way, you can see there are some familiar faces or familiar names on that pitch or on the roster list as well. If you do want your name on there, let me know. Drop me a note, and for a suitable donation to St. Elizabeth's Hospice, we'll put your name on there. We'll immortalise you forever in Dark Elf beauty. Looking forward to it, though.
Scott, not afraid to try and get some money out of people for naming rights.
Charity.
We'll forgive you, as we've already established. You're not paying attention with Witch Elf being the captain.
Thanks.
Tom, we're used to breaking Scott's armor on an 8 all the time. He's only got 1 Witch Elf and no assassin. So as far as the armor 8 breaks go, there is only 1 in there. Otherwise, it's 9 across the board. But everybody is edge 2. We saw Scott get better and better with those Wood Elves. Is this a team that's just going to give him that little bit extra resistance and take him further?
Don't know. Actually, a question too, Scott. Is this a multi-season team, or is this just going to be a 1-season team? What's your feelings at the moment?
My gut feel, to be honest, Tom, is they're 1 season, but I might bring them back in a few seasons. But they all do have an individual training roster. So I know what skill sets, what extras I want to buy, when I want to buy it, in terms of as it goes for it. So 2 rerolls, need to play it safe, need to be mindful of using them at the appropriate time. Yes, looking forward to it as well. Phil there, Scott's trying to cheat the system. Absolutely, Philip. That's just not through intent, though, just through bloody-minded ignorance. So good evening, by the way.
Well, let's put bloody-minded ignorance to one side and go to what is our third stunty team that we have looked at so far today. And it is Mr. Scott Norman. It is Wreckham AFC. He has gone for ogres. And once again, of course, we have gone for some kind of gimmick play. Last season, everyone will remember the Snotling team that came along with a 0 team value and a bingo cage worth of inducements. This season, he has gone for a Wrexham themed team. He has gone for the 2 big owners, 2 big Hollywood owners in the 2 ogres that are on the team. Other than that, he has just gone lineman, and then he has spent a lot of money. He has got 3 rerolls. He has got 6 dedicated fans. He has got 6 coaches. He has got 12 cheerleaders, and he has got an APOC. He is not taking any star players. He will take staff and other inducements. It's a bold build, and it is one that I think could be interesting to watch. I think we're going to see some inducements in some of those coaches that we don't see very often. Tom, the fact that he is not going to rely on any star players means the only additional players he'll be bringing in are going to be some of those coaches that can come onto the team. Is that going to be enough, or is this going to be a stretch too far?
Yeah, I'm curious to know why so many cheerleaders. What's the secret behind that? We always know that Scott's got something up his sleeve with these things.
I believe it is a case of they can spend the money on the staff, but they don't have the money for the players. So he has just maxed out staff. So if you get Prez to Nuffle, he is never losing a Prez to Nuffle role.
Or or the coach role as well, Chris.
He's very unlikely to ever lose a coach role as well. But as far as a stunty team goes, he is the highest team value stunty team that we've come across so far.
No, it'd be interesting to see, especially like you say, all he's got is just a lineman and just 2 kind of ogres. Two completely different ogre teams. So it'll be interesting to see which one wins.
Scott,
I don't think it's going to take. I don't. First few games, maybe not. Second few games, yes, because I think given that number of fans, given how much money he's going to be raking in, I don't think it'll be long before, though there are lots of extra blockers on there as well, and we know that punter is going to be shoehorning Noblars down and around the pitch. Looking forward to it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think if he gets enough of if he gets enough money from games and he can keep the ogres alive and he doesn't need to replace Noblars too often, he could end up just waiting for every 140,000 and just stacking up those rerolls. How many rerolls he will have by the end of the season could be one to watch. So we'll see how this particular one goes. It's a bold choice. It's a very bold choice. Will it be successful? We will have to wait and see. Moving on to our first rookie coach, the first coach who is brand new to the A&DBBL, and it is Mark Humphreys, and it is the Elf Preservation Society. Fantastic name and logo, I have to say. He has gone for a Wood Elf team, and Scott, will come straight to you here. Now, Mark brings a bit like Luke did in his first season. Mark brings a lot of Blood Bowl 3 experience with him. Maybe not as much tabletop, but a lot of Blood Bowl 3. He has built a team here. How do you view this team? He has only gone for 2 positionals, but he has gone for 3 rerolls. Maybe a safe build for his first season?
I think the extra reroll is going to be incredibly helpful. My only concern, but then when you start with Woodies, people will say that the typical build will be the 2 War Dancers, 2 rerolls. So it's that trade-off as well, because what the thrower is going to do, it's just going to open up the pitch so much for you. 2 up pickup, which will fail, 2 up pass as well with pass. So as soon as you can get up to your first catch, you're great. And watching Mark play Jamie the other day with his against Dwarves, and some of the beautiful, and it was phenomenally beautiful. So if you're in chat this evening, Mark, again, take my hat off to you. It was just elvish bullshittery of the top S class level. It really was a beautiful thing to see. So I think people look at Wood Elves, and they can be a bit of trepidation. I think you'd be to be very, you have to be on your game, I think, to beat Mark on his Wood Elves as well. But as we all know with Wood Elves, they can collapse like the glass cannon we love.
Tom, sometimes the pace and the kind of different environment of a tabletop game can initially throw off coaches who have mainly played online, but it very much feels like Mark is one of this season's dark horses, and we could see a very, very strong performance with a team that we know can be very, very good.
Yeah, it looks like he's already been called out in chat as well. So it's not just because he's classed as a rookie and new to our league, it doesn't mean that he's kind of wet behind the ears. I think he's pretty seasoned on how to play teams, and it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of elf teams in the season, but there's also a lot of kind of different teams like the ogres, like the necromantics, like the Nurgle, who have got extra skills already on them that are going to maybe give some of these teams, these newly drafted teams, a bit of a headache potentially.
I'm going to pause and allow everybody to read players 4, 5, and 6 backwards in a row. I'm just going to give everyone a few seconds, and now you're going to have to go back and to look at that in your own time. Good luck to Mark in his first season. It'll be very interesting to watch him and see how he gets on. Moving on to the Disco Danger Rats 2, Electric Boogaloo, one of my favorite team names. James Handley bringing Rats back from a very long absence in the A&DBBL. He hasn't played them for a while. He is our inaugural champion. And he comes in with a Skaven team, and we know that rats suit James, and James is a big rat fan, absolutely a big rat fan. And he's brought a build here that I think is pretty strong. He's gone for 4 gutter runners, 2 blitzes, and a thrower. It's a pretty standard build, 3 rerolls, team value of 955. So he's not going to be too high up on the lists. Scott, we'll come to you first as a Skaven coach. This is almost exactly the roster that I ran in my first Skaven team. It's a pretty standard one if you're not going for the Rat Ogre straight away. And one that I think James will get some good results with if he can keep them alive.
I applaud this full setup without the Roger, the 4 gutter runners, and 5 dedicated fans. We know he's going to lose rats. That's the one thing you can guarantee. So to have 5 fans in your back pocket as well, you will score 2-3 touchdowns a game. Unless you've been pitch cleared, but hey, that's part of the fun of rats. So I think this is going to be a very, very interesting team to play. So yeah, what's his TV? 955. Okay, he'll have again, if he's playing one of the redrafted teams, you can just drop in Skitter. You got a lovely 5 gutter runner build. That would be beautiful. James, please do that.
Don't. Don't. No, let's not. I'm looking forward to seeing if he plays against his brother and see the lineup between those 2 teams.
That would be an interesting game because I played his brother with my rats and very few survived that game. So it would be interesting if that pair up comes in. Tom, I mean, James is in tier 1. He's bringing in pot 1. He's bringing a team. Skaven, we know, are they're a good team out of the box regardless. But James has the experience with them that means that he is coming out punching from the off.
Yeah, absolutely. He plays the Skaven all the time. He knows how to play them. He knows what to do with them. It's just been interesting. Again, like I say, there is such a variety of teams. It's really hard to call who's going to rise to the top in this. There's so many decent players and coaches out there.
Yeah, I've yet to come across a team that I think I can get a confident result against. Except for, I'll tell you what, I'd like to play those Ducks first. That's looking easy compared to the rest of these. Let's move on then to, we've got another stunty team. Stunty team number 4. It is Sir Honkington's Folly. It is Gnomes. And it is, as far as stunty teams go, you look at the players that he has redrafted and he means business with this team. We know that one of the biggest issues with Gnomes is the lack of dodge, and he is bringing back a number of linemen with dodge here. It is his 3rd season in the A&DBBL. It is his 3rd season with the Gnomes. And this Tom is a team to fear. Block on a tree, Juggernaut, and grab on the tree as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Gnomes with dodge and a sneaky get thrown in there for good luck. He's got 2 rerolls. He is full with positionals. This is going to be a stunty team for other stunty teams, if not any other team, to be fearful of.
Yeah, this is definitely the one that's gunning for the stunty cup. It looks more like a normal team than a stunty team. It's so skilled up, but it'll be interesting again. It's going to be a really interesting one to see, because just pointing out that even though he's got no additional skills on that second treatment, that treatment has got 6 SPP straight away.
That's a really good point, actually, Scott. Tom and Scott, it's a good point to bring out that he has redrafted not only players with skills, but he has also got a lot of sitting SPP there. So a lot of these skilled up players are not very far away from having another skill, and having a tree man sat there. I mean, do we think he's saving for block there, or do we think come first day of the season he'll look at his opponent and choose a skill on that tree straight away? Maybe guard?
Diving tackle. That'd be funny. Anyway, that's another memery. When I was doing a few little scribbles before we actually started this evening, believe it or not, I wrote down the name of 2 teams that I didn't really want to face. One was Mr. Luke Baggett and his wonderfully filthy Orphic Gladiators, who we've already discussed. This was the second one, Sir Simon and his Gnomes. As you said, dodge across the board. It's only 980 in terms of team values, so you're not going to be getting big bucks in terms of star players inducements. Yeah, and I think before long, I think we'll see a 3rd tree as well, maybe coming in here, whether it's as a star player or somehow. But I think it gives him a really, really good, clever base as well to work from. Won't take much for those foxes as well before, they'll have sidestep, sprint, all the rest of it. So they've got sidestep. I meant sure feet and sprint. So yeah. This would be an incredibly challenging team for anybody at any TV.
Possibly the favorite for the Stunty Cup, I think we are looking at here. It's got to be, looking at some of those skills.
Equally, just to finish off, the Nest Treeman has got 11 casualties. That's insane.
Do not want to find yourself next to that Treeman. Absolutely. We are halfway through. Let's dive into the second half, and let's have none other than Mr. Tom Hovell lead us into the second half of the list. It is the Boneyard Blitzers back. Tom debuted in the A&DBBL with the Boneyard Blitzers back in season 5. He has brought them back for another season. And interestingly, Mr. Hovell, you have done similar to me here. You have only redrafted the one player, a thrower with accurate and on the ball. It's the only one that you have redrafted. Otherwise, you have poured that money into rerolls and APOC, and you have got a treasury sat there just in case. It is exactly the same tactic that I've brought in. I don't know how well it'll work for me. How are you feeling about it working for you?
Yeah, I fancy going back to Orcs just for just a little bit of fun. I thought I'd put all my eggs in one basket. Sebastian there. I'm looking forward to some 2-up passes on a quick pass or a short pass with an Orc, although I do have to remember animosity. So it's going to be an interesting, fun one, personally. I think for me, I just wanted to kind of get back to basics and see what I can do with them.
Scott, we know that Tom hasn't played these orcs in a while, but if you look at how Tom did with these orcs all the way back in season 5, he got a win against Numpties, who went on to the final and then won the following season. None of his games were walkovers. They were all very close in a very tight group that he had. It's a team that possibly suits Tom here. How do you think he'll get on? He's got a good range of positionals there. It's a nice build.
I think it's a very nice build. I think the thrower gives him that little bit of something else, which maybe when we saw John's team, Mr. Reader's team earlier, maybe that was missing from that team, But again, this is a redrafted team. I think it's going to be very interesting as well. My only words warning for Tom, just as a fellow coach, as much as anything, is you don't have to throw on every single drive, Tom, because I can see Tom throwing it down the pitch and then realizing, oh yeah, big on blocker, he doesn't really move that far. So, but it gives the opposition something else to think about. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge.
It's a perfect team for Tom's token throw the ball to nobody somewhere, having that in his back pocket. He's never going to have the speeds to catch up with it, but he could throw it anywhere he wants. Tom, good luck with these orcs. I'm very pleased to see them back. We'll see how you get on. Moving on to another new coach. To call him a rookie coach would be very incorrect. Lots of tournament experience, Blood Bowl Online experience, but it is his first season in the A&DBBL. It is Andrew Philpott, aka Phil, bringing a team that I mistakenly put on my notes as Khorne because they're called Claws of Khorne, but it is another Dark Elf team. A Dark Elf team that has gone maximum on the blitzers. He's gone for a runner there. No Witch Elf is coming to this team for his starting roster. Gone for the 2 rerolls. Scott, you are a fellow Dark Elf coach here. He's gone a slightly different way to you with the runner there instead of the Witch Elf. How are you feeling about this as one of your competitors in that Dark Elf space? Is this a team that you think maybe style-wise is going to kind of grow and play a bit different to you?
Possibly. I was looking at this roster actually with the 4 blitzers, but looking at the trade-off between a dump-off, which, you don't get a re-roll and it's still a 3-up pass. So, and the other thing which you can do, obviously anti-runner, is if you declare the blitz against the runner and they say, well, I'm going to do the dump-off pass, you don't have to follow up, but if they pass on a 3-up, which fails a lot of the more times than people think, all of a sudden you've got an extra movement piece to possibly go and pressurize that ball. So it's, again, interesting build, but having 4 players out the bag with block on armor 9 is always a very, very good thing.
Tom, it's an interesting approach. The Dark Elf runner, I think, is sort of hidden in the shadows, but one of my favorite positionals of any team. I probably would never play Dark Elves myself, but I absolutely love the idea of it. Edge 2, movement 7, passing 3, but dump off is such a fun skill, and when you utilize it correctly, you utilize it in the right way, can really kind of give you something else, because a lot of people forget that it's there. You declare the blitz, you go for it, and suddenly the ball is not where you thought it was going to be. So really interesting positional there. Do you think it will give the edge against some teams?
Yeah, I think so, because it's an interesting one, because very much like the kind of human catchers, which has got a little bit extra on speed but only 2 on strength. This is for me is a much better rounded runner, I think, on that kind of thing. Whether the fact that they've all the linemen haven't got any skills straight away, no subs. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see how these because, as you say, there's a large number of Dark Elves. There's 5 Dark Elf teams. There's there's a one Wood Elf team, and there's a Elven Union team tucked in there as well. So there's a lot of edge in the season as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how these all play out.
It's interesting. There's a comment in chat for Phil as well. He says he's a leader caddy. Yep, that's supposed to get that 3rd reroll.
it will be interesting to see how this one plays out. Lots of Dark Elves. We've got to think we're going to see a Dark Elf team near the top of the table. It's just a case of who is it going to be. Moving on then to one of the teams that is on my list as one of the most feared teams in this season. I would argue one of the scariest teams I have come up against in my time in the A&DBBL. It is the Tipsy Tankards. Robert back after a season out. He previously finished third place with this team. He redrafted them. He had a very, very strong group stage, but then had a really bad last game that put him into a bad run for the playoffs. But look at some of these players that he is bringing back. Mighty Blow block guard on an Ulfwerner. Surehand's leader dodge tackle on a Valkyrie. Mighty Blow guard tackle on a Berserker. He's got another guard in there. He's got another Valkyrie with dodge and movement 8. We said before, Scott, that the players being redrafted by the Argatha Mewers were a very, very strong set of players. This is a very, very scary set of players and a team that can do a lot of damage.
Yes, incredibly so. Strength 4, Mighty Blow, block guard. That's just a lovely way to build an Ulfwerner. It really, really is. So he's got that, line of scrummage, that holding piece as well, and the piece to take things off the pitch, when you introduce frenzy to that particular model. I'm also looking at his Valkyrie, Groggy Grace as well, Surehand's leader, dodge, tackle, thank you very much indeed. If you want something to go after, sack your ball carrier and pick it up as well. Very nice indeed. We know Robert, he plays this team exceptionally well. So, yeah, I do echo your sentiments on that, Chris.
Tom, looking at some of the teams that we have seen already, some of the teams with movement 9, armor 9 or armor 8, some of those stunty teams, the tackle, the Mighty Blow that he's got here, if he gets the right draw, he could have a very, very brutal first few games, and he could very quickly have a very unstoppable team.
Yeah, 100% agree. Although looking at this, you got to play against him tactically. There's already quite literally chinks in the armor because that Berserker has only got AV armor 7 now, and he's got a beer bore to make up the 11. So if you play it tactically, you might win, but you won't get away without a bloody nose, I don't think, against it. This was my second team that I do not want to play against. Same as Scott. Luke was number 1, and this is number 2 for me.
I think the one thing I would say, Tom, as well, if you called out that play, there's the 1 beer bore as well, and there is the High Harry who's only got armor 7. Yes, okay, he's got block in there, to give him a bit of extra, protection. I think even if you lost those 2 players and maybe alignment, I think the remainder of the skilled players, that would still be something to fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Robert is very, very good with his team. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on after a season out. It would be not a team that I want to face again. I've had many tough games against this team. I would rather not have another one. But good to see Robert back from a season away. Moving on then to it is our Elven Union team for the season. It's the Greystone Gladiators, Justin Smith coming in for Justin's 5th season, bringing back the Elves after a brief halfling break, looking to build on 2 strong campaigns in Season 5 and Season 6 with this team. And immediately, Scott, your eyes go to 2 players in particular here. He has got a catcher with Strength 4, and he has another catcher with Movement 9 and Block. Those 2 are going to be very, very key for his season.
They are, but the other thing that drew my eye, Chris, is that Justin's got no rerolls. So again, doff my cap for bravery, but no rerolls. I know they're only, they're all 2 up in terms of their edge. Yes, he's got a strength 4 catcher as well, which is pretty ridiculous. He's got the movement 9 catcher as well with block, and those 2 blitzers really, really make that team as well. We know as well, Justin is incredibly experienced with Pro Elves. He's played them obviously international level as well. So no rerolls. it's going to be very, very interesting to play this team with no rerolls.
Tom, the players he's brought back are very, very good players, ones that you would definitely want to have in this team. But like Scott said, the lack of rerolls is going to cost 100,000 to bring a reroll in mid-season, and he's only got 2 fans to start with, so it could take him a while to get that money. Will the skills he's got on there in the Edge 2, will that be enough that he doesn't need to rely on them too much, or do you think that could prove to be a mistake based on how much he spent on redrafts?
Yeah, I had the unfortunate experience of playing him in a previous season when I had vampires. He knows this team. He knows set plays with elves. He's got them all, stored away up in that little noggin of his, where he just knows which way to move, how to move. Just looking at that team, that strength 4 catcher is potentially going to be more of a blitzer than even his blitzers are. You've also got that movement 9 catcher. So, and he's even got he's got a third catcher at the bottom as well as a thrower. So he could be potentially playing multiple games. He can switch it around very, very quickly. So, yeah, again, another not easy competitor.
No, and possibly out the box with all of the elf teams that we've got, possibly the elf team that you're looking at on paper and saying the most difficult one at the moment. I think that maybe, after we're a few days into the season, we'll kind of see how that changes because it's got some of the lower armor, but you got to say this is one of the elf teams that you think are going to be near the top of their table. Let's move on then to another former champion. It is Tom Huns, and it is another Dark Elf team. 5 rules of dodge. Tom coming in with a agile team again after his Chaos Dwarves last season. Last time he brought a more agile team, it was the Amazons, and he went completely unbeaten throughout the entire season 7. 10 wins from 10. Will he be able to repeat that with this team? Looking at the roster, we've got 3 blitzers and a witch elf he has gone for here. Filled out with linemen and 2 rerolls. Scott, we're going to come to you again. We're going to come to you with all of these Dark Elf teams. How is this one looking? How is this one looking for you? Because Tom knows what he's doing.
Same as mine.
It's the same build as yours.
Yeah.
So are you thinking that you're on the right track here, or are you kind of seeing this? If this was your first game, if this was your first game and you had this as a mirror match, how would you feel?
Given the fact that I know how Tom plays, I wouldn't feel overawed, but then I would know that I'd have to, bring out my A game even to stand a chance of a result. Yeah. I think this is going to be, whether or not, I did see him in chat earlier. So if you're in chat, Tom, is your plan as a 1 or 2 build season with these? Like Woody's, they, for me, were a bit of a 2-season build, but then we saw what Tom did with his vampires when he got in a roll. That was the ultimate 1-season build, I think, that we've had. And of course, the other ultimate 1-season build, although they did have all the dodge, was the Amazons that he won his title with, completely unbeaten. So, yes, they got the armor 9, which always gives an extra bonus. He's got the 3 blocks and all the edge 2s. I think it's knowing when to use your rerolls and when not to use your rerolls, which is going to be key. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Tom's, I never redraft teams. I like to make things hard for myself. Very good, sir.
Tom, with all these Dark Elf teams, we've got one redrafted Dark Elf teams. We've got a lot of new redraft teams. We're now seeing a couple of similar rosters between them. So there's quite a lot of similarity there. It's very much, those first games are going to be really key for Tom and for all the other Dark Elf coaches to see sort of how you get out of them, what skills you get out of them, what SPP you manage to get to start to separate them, because we've got a lot of similar teams here that could end up kind of scrapping for points.
Yeah, and also just maybe it's a question for Scott as well, because he's got the same build, saying why no assassins? So they see that there were some assassins on other teams, but both you and Tom are not taking assassins. What was the thoughts behind that?
Well, myself, Tom, and other Phil, we didn't take assassins. I think because of their cost. just the cost to start with, Tom. It's like, do you take an assassin or do you take a strength 9 with block? Because the assassins are only armor value 8. Yes, it's a movement 7 piece. Yes, it's 2 up dodge, but against the same stat line, +1 armor plus block. And the problem is, if you don't get your stab away, you're just leaving it there. An absolute sitting target as well. So I can see what everybody else has done, taking the blitzer, and witch elf and the runner over the assassin. I think an assassin is nice to have, but there are better positionals you can play with a dark elf. That's my opinion anyway.
Okay. Well, we always know that Tom has a 12-man, which are his dice. Because I've played against him and he
Fighting talk already.
Bold claim. Master of Wonders comes in with the trash talk before we've even started. Well, we've got one more Dark Elf to look at, and we'll look at them a little bit later. But first, we are going to go to another Necromantic Hero team. It is Jane and her Wolverswampton Shamblers. It's the 4th season for Jane's Necromantic Horror team, looking to build on what was a very, very strong season for her, one of her best seasons that she's had in Season 8. And the redraft that she's got here, she's brought back some pretty strong players as well. She's had to fill out with linemen because of it, but we have got here a very tasty looking Ghoul Runner with block, sidestep and dodge and 21 sitting SPP, ready to try and get possibly a skill up on that Ghoul Runner. Werewolf with wrestle, tackle, jump up and dodge. Tom, we're going to come to you because it's a Necro team and we always do. She's bringing back some strong players here. And I think actually the thing that is maybe drawing my eye the most is actually she's going to start off with 2 strength 4 flesh golems, both with guard. She's going to be creating a very, very strong front line from game 1.
Yeah, this looks nice. I like how Jane plays as well. So she always embraces the madness. I'm equally interested to see what stat she's going to increase that Ghoul Runner with. There's so many possibilities, isn't there? Do you do the extra movement? Do you do the strength? Do you do the armor? Those kind of things. There's multiple options there. That werewolf looks horrific as well. I do not want to go up against that. Again, she's played this team a number of times. Is it 2nd or 3rd time she's had it?
This will be the 4th season for this team.
Wow. Okay, so this is a decent team with a coach that knows her team very well. So yeah, good luck.
Scott, looking at that werewolf, then 9 touchdowns, 4 casualties on that player. If the werewolf were to not make it out of the first few games, that's going to be pretty key to Jane's season.
I think if either of the Ghoul Runner or the wolf were to get injured, hurt, or even killed, taken off the pitch, I think then that would be, I'd personally be weeping if that was my team and one of those got taken out. But I think it gives her so much possibility as well. You still got a generic Ghoul Runner movement 7, and you got at least 1 Wraith in there, which is nothing great in terms of always gets in the way, sidestep, block, etc., etc. So I think there are some good positionals here. Jane can hold the front line, as Tom was saying, with the golems. And then she's got 2 real key pieces in terms of strike players. You've got the one player to sack the opposition. You've got the other player as well then to go and score for you as well. But then interesting, if you look at Jane's split over the last few years, the wolf has scored more than the Ghoul Runner.
It's interesting to see that. It's sort of it's her everything piece, isn't it? It's her touchdowns and her casualties coming from the same position.
That werewolf is just 1 strength down from a Wilhelm Chaney. So that's the kind of how good that piece is. That's a dangerous piece.
Well, Jane had her best ever season last season. Let's see if she can build on that for the 4th time of asking. Let's go to the next team here. And it is another new coach to the A&DBBL. Certainly not a new player. Ash is a IBBL veteran, new to Lizards and new to our league. And the second Lizard team that is in this season. Looking at the lizard build that they've gone for as well, 970. We've got the 6 Saurus blockers in there, chameleon, and then the 2 chameleons and 3 skinks. Scott, 2 chameleons is an interesting position to start with. You do often end up with a slightly odd amount of money at the end of a 1 million build for lizards. 2 chameleons gives him some good kind of starting kick, using that on the ball, and possibly good defensively against some of the edge teams. But it's an interesting choice because it is limiting the movement.
I think it is. As you rightly say, Chris, most people end up with the 4 skinks in terms of that starting position. And tell me if I'm wrong, Chris, didn't you start a season once with 5 Saurus blockers, not 6?
I think I've always started with 6, but
right,
you can.
What do I know?
You can do a 5 build, and then you can get the 3rd reroll.
Yeah.
And the 3rd reroll is going to cost you 140, whereas the 6th Saurus is going to cost you 85. So there's an argument to do it depending on kind of the way you play, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable with those skinks if you do start to need to rely on them.
I think if it's like the thralty of vampires, isn't it? And your gutter run is not so much your gutter run as your Skaven, but it's that piece which people know if they target that particular player, that's really, really going to hamper the team. Having 5 gives you a lot more flexibility around the pitch as well. Movement 8, it's a nice 2-turn score as well. Yeah, and I just remind me as well, dodge the ball is per player, isn't it? So in effect, you on the kickoff, you've got 2 players for moving.
On the ball, only 1 player can
Is
use
it 1 player or both?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that is specified in the.
I suppose it gives him a bit of freedom, so he can put them 2 in the backfield. So when the ball comes over, just say, oh well, it's over this side. I'll use the nearest one to move 3 spaces.
Protects well against kick, doesn't it? Because you do have full coverage with that on the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Equally, it's the fact is that it'd be interesting with playing against the likes of the Elven Union or some of the Dark Elf teams when they're doing a passing game with on the ball.
I don't think Dark Elves, but the Woodies definitely, the Woodies and the Pro Elves, as you said, Tom. Yeah, I think that's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting using them as sweepers. It's a strong build here from Ash. Tom, one thing that Ash may benefit from off the bat, being an A&DBBL new coach, he's down in pot 4, but we know that Ash has got quite a lot of experience in the game. He's getting 3 SPP from day 1 on one of those skinks. That is 1 touchdown away from a chosen skill. That could really help him build a strong scoring threat quickly.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, we've seen him multiple times at other tournaments. He plays at the Ipswich Blood Bowl League. So he's going to be a good fun opponent to play against anyone. And as you say, it's just really interesting to see those 2 skinks in there, and you wonder what's going on there. How is he going to play that?
I would love to play Ash, and I'll do a Lizard Mirror match against Ash because he's so much fun to play. I'm so happy that we've got him in the league this season. So good luck to you, Ash. Hopefully I will meet you at some point as the season goes on. We will move on to another new player to the A&DBBL. It is James in with his Imperial Nobility, in for a penny, in for a pound. It's his first season with us, and it's the first time that we have seen Imperial Nobility for quite a few seasons now. Season 5, we had an Imperial Nobility team who did quite well, topped the group, but then had to step back after the group stage. They're not a team that we see very often, Tom. We don't often see Imperial Nobility coming in. They're a slightly peculiar team in a way. They've got kind of odd positionals. There's just something about them that is somehow, it's almost like they're humans without maybe some element of flexibility. You've got the Fens there on the lineman. How do you think he'll get on in this season? He's starting with an ogre. He's starting with just 1 reroll. So he's gone quite heavy on some of that strength. He's got, a good amount of positionals. Do you think it'll be kind of a good team looking at the other ones he's got to face around him?
Yeah, the Imperial Nobility are always kind of that bogey team, really, aren't they? Because you've got the ogre, but you haven't really got a halfling. So that's kind of really just giving it one job to do. They're also, the price of them, they're always very expensive. So they're expensive to replace. And it's going to be difficult, especially with just one re-roll in there. I do not know how to kind of work this one. The wrestle, I think, might be something that's going to be quite good for him, because again, no block on those bodyguards straight away. But we've seen, especially with Hopkinson's Folly, that wrestle can be quite effective with these. And I suppose you've got a little bit more survivability with them, being humans rather than gnomes. So it's going to be an interesting one to look at. Again, I don't really know. I've played them. I played against nobility before. They have a very funny, odd play.
Scott, it's
that's the most concise Blood Bowl observation I think you've come up with so far, Tom.
Exactly.
Scott, one interesting thing about them, and it's been mentioned in the chat, with the amount of stand firm, wrestle, fend that you've got in there, they're they're a good team at controlling the field. They're a good team defensively. So is that kind of, it's in that way, being James's first season, having a team where he can maybe spend the season controlling the pitch, he could frustrate a lot of coaches out there and then get a breakthrough where he needs it. Could maybe be another one to watch of our kind of newer coaches.
I think they could be. I think there's a lot of people in our league who probably haven't played Imperial Nobility before. And as you said, Chris, and as Tom succinctly put it, their style of play is different. They are all about that pitch control, that positioning. It's not about necessarily going right for the breakthrough, but it's about, that control game in the middle of the pitch as well. So I think they're a team to write off at your own peril, I would say as well. So yes, what I would say to James is good luck, James. Welcome to the league.
Best of luck, James, for this season. We'll see how the Imperial Nobility get on. And we will move on to Mr. Jamie Yates and the World's Edge Berserkers. He is an experienced player in the A&DBBL and a player who has only ever played Dwarfs. Dwarfs are the only team that Jamie brings to the pitch. And he has had some very strong seasons with them as well. Getting a 6th and a 5th place finish in previous seasons, and having enough of a consistency with these dwarfs to get him in pot 1 for the draw as well. So really, really strong previous performances from Jamie, and a couple of unlucky games where he could have made it through to semi-finals or higher. Tom, you're a recent convert to dwarfs. Looking at some of the skills that he brings back and the players he brings back, he's only brought 4 players back, but he's got 3 rerolls, and those 4 players have carefully picked skills. They've got sitting SPP. So this could be a team that we know dwarfs out the box are very strong, and he's already got a lot there to build very quickly.
Yeah, this looks like an elf killing team. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how he plays them. As you quite rightly say, he only ever plays this team. He's done really well. He's played quite literally the long game with them by selecting the right things. Classic dwarf additional skills there: guard, block, mighty blows. So it's all really nice on that side. Plus 3 re-rolls in the bank, 5 dedicated fans. Yeah, that's a bit of a nightmare there.
Scott, it's interesting with dwarves. I don't think there's necessarily many teams out there where the linemen are so good that actually the chances of you end up redrafting the linemen are really quite strong. Dwarves, the fact your linemen already come with block, tackle, and thick skull, you don't need many skills on there before they are really tempting. And he's bringing back a guard mighty blow, 2 guard mighty blows even, and a lot of sitting SPP.
I fully agree with what Tom said. I think Jamie has redrafted this very, very cleverly indeed. He's kept those key skills, as you said, the double mighty blow guard, the block guard on the other 2 blitzers, or 1 runner, 1 blitzer as well. So it's not an easy team to get the ball off with that runner who already has sure hands inbuilt as well. Plus, as well, you're going to have to get through a hell of a dwarf cage to try and even break that through. And if you are trying to break the cage and you are an elf team or edge, that tackle, being taken away from you, not so much for, I'm just thinking particularly Woodies and maybe some of the Union teams as well. That's going to be key this year. So yeah, even anything else with a bit more edge. When we think about some of the teams we've seen yourself, Ash, with regards to the Lizard Men or your Skinks, Chris. Yeah, this is a very, very potent team indeed.
I think I say it every season that I don't think Jamie is far away from leaving the A&DBBL with a trophy. So I think we are, and this is a team that looks like it could get there. It's another one of those teams that I think possibly, because he's not kind of got semi-final and final before, maybe you don't necessarily think that, you don't consider it a name that gets to that group, but Jamie is a coach to be feared. I think do not underestimate this dwarf team at all. Moving on then to our penultimate stunty team that we have, and it is Phil bringing in Snotlings. It is Blob, Blobby, Blobby, Blob, Blob coming into the A&DBBL this season. Phil venturing into stunties for the first time after a very, very strong run with Corn team, finishing in season 8, making it into the top playoff, and having a very, very strong run with that team with a very well built up squad. Coming with Snotlings in a very terrifying, very, very terrifying looking painted team with the pink and yellow makes them very, very scary. But it's going to be an interesting switch for Phil, Scott, because he's previously played a lot of Corn. He played Elves before that. Stunty's not something that he has gone into before. He's got a few practice games in. It's a very different style of play. How do you think he's going to get on with this team?
I think I'm expecting good things from Phil. Because he will have the swarming ability, so that he's got that up his sleeve as well. And of course, he's got 275k in the treasury. So if he does need to dip into the star player pot every now and then to maybe get something extra on the line, although he's got two trained trolls and he's got the pump wagon. So if he does need something like your skitter for an extra movement 9 piece, yeah, it could be very interesting indeed.
Tom, he's gone for 3 strength 5s here, and he's also gone for 2 fungus flingers as well. So he's got the bombing on his side. He's got a little bit of strength there. And then he's gone for a stilty runner and a fun hopper as well. He's got a lot of money in the treasury sort of behind him. He's sort of possibly maybe deliberately held back in maybe another pump wagon to keep that team value down. Do we think we'll see him relying on star players a little bit this season to get where he needs to go?
I would definitely say so. He's got 13 players, and 3 of the which are secret weapons. So that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, it's tricky because you already see where his brain's going. So you put the 2 trolls and the pump wagon on the line. You put your fungus flingers relatively far back, and just gunk up the works of all those linemen. So it's going to be an interesting kind of play. And as you say, it's the first time I think he's ever played stunty teams. So it'll be interesting to see how he starts.
It's he's got 2 fungus flingers there, which means he's got a bomber for his first and second half, which I think could be the difference between him and the other stunty team that we've got. So very interesting to see how that plays out. I was tempted to get the Mr. Blobby theme song to play as the team came on screen, and then I came to the conclusion that if that's what got me my first copyright infringement on Twitch and YouTube, I would be fuming. So decided not to do it. Sorry, Phil, maybe another time. We have got 6 teams left to go through. We're on the final stretch here, and we will move on to another new player in the A&DBBL this season. Michael Robertson comes in with his Eagles of Corn team. Last season, we had a lot of Corn with the season of Corn, and this season, he is the only Corn team that we have got here. And looking at the team that he has built, he has got the 3 Bloodseekers in there. He's gone for the 4 Corngors. He's got 3 rerolls. Scott, possibly, it feels quite safe. I feel like we're seeing a lot of people maybe go safe on rerolls this season, aiming for that 3, give themselves that little backup just in case they need it. Do you think that's the case here?
I think having 3 rerolls on a corn team is always useful. We know, and James, sort of showed this last year as well. But they can, take a couple of games to get up to SP and start getting additional skills on there as well. I have to say, on a personal basis, the Blood Seekers, if you see them on Blood Bowl 3, their tackle and celebration with the big thumbs up is probably one of my favourite in Blood Bowl 3 anyway. So I really love they've got a big soft spot for them. So good luck to them. Welcome to the league. And looking forward to it. I think, are these the only corn team we've got this season? They are, aren't they?
This is the only corn team we've got, which I think is surprising because they are the most recent Blood Bowl 3 release. I wondered whether, I know we did the season of corn last season, but I wondered whether we would get a few people because it's kind of it's the team that you can get lots of practice on. Tom, I don't know whether Michael's played a lot of Blood Bowl 3 or not. We're looking at the teams that we've got this season, coaches that have teams that are on Blood Bowl 3. We do have a lot of those. Would that kind of influence you, do you think, as to what team you would pick, as to whether you've got that extra element of practice?
Yeah, I suppose it's that interesting one, isn't it? Because you see a lot of people playing online nowadays and then moving across to the boards. I don't know. I don't know if it does help or maybe even hinder, because on the game, and I suppose you can turn off the settings, but there is a lot of things that give you a lot of help around tackle zones and things along those lines. But again, it's just really nice just to see another different team there. It's not a situation where we've only got 6 different teams throughout 32 players. There are a lot of different teams, and all the way through from Amazons to Wood Elves. We've got everything along and in between. Looking down the list, I'm trying to see if there is anything that we don't have at the moment, apart from Old World.
Nobody needs Old World, Tom.
No, we don't need Old World at all, do we?
We don't need Old World. But it's a good point. And I'm glad that we've got some corn. It's going to be very interesting if we get the corn up against possibly the Imperial Nobility, seeing how the Frenzy and the Stand Firm and the Fend all kind of work together and how the coaches kind of handle that. They could be an interesting team depending on who they come up against. Moving on then to Mitch, who is returning to us after a bit of a break, dropping the elves that he previously played for vampires for his return. Our only vampire team that we've got this season, the Waldenhof Blood Knights. And he's gone for, Tom, I'd love to get your opinion on this vampire build here. He's got 2 throwers, a runner and a blitzer in there. So he has gone, he hasn't gone strength heavy necessarily because the runner is lower, filled out on thralls, and he is starting with 4 rerolls. That's probably the key thing here.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That he's only gone for 1 runner. It's like you say, last couple of seasons we've seen vampires kind of come into their own. We've seen a number of them in tournaments, so a bit like the gnomes, people are starting to get their heads around how to play them. We've also seen them completely implode, my team in particular. So it's going to be an interesting one again to see how this one plays. Some people will be fine against this team. Others will be, oh no, I don't want to play this. The thing is that the Hypno Gaze, that's a beautiful thing. So you've got, maybe like you say, like the nobility does stand firm, we get affected by Hypno Gaze. I would probably say yes.
I would assume it does get it because you can't choose to do it because you're hypnotized. So I would assume so. So again, that could be an interesting kind of matchup if that comes along. But of course, Juggernaut negates fend and stand firm anyway. So there's a lot of moving pieces there. Scott, it's another heavy reroll build here. But as a vampire coach, you probably want the rerolls in your back pocket rather, the cost to buy them mid-season is 120. It's slightly cheaper than the cost to buy one of the new vampire positionals. So maybe the way to go sort of with the first season with a vampire team, we know that 2 seasons benefits vampires.
I think he's got a very good chance. Mitch knows his stuff. He knows his way around the Blood Bowl pitch, and having those 4 positionals. Tom, can you remind me again, what does the Vampire Lord do?
So the Vampire Lord, I think, is a little bit like your
APOC.
Yeah, but I think they can also if you kill someone, they become one of your linemen. I might be completely wrong on that.
I think you get a thrall. I think it's similar to the Necromancer, that kind of rule there, which Torplay now displays as a separate thing. So it kind of makes it look like you've paid for it, but it is something you get with the team. Yeah. So it's a slightly odd one.
I think it's, he's got the extra player, so you've always got that up his sleeve as well if you need to get bodies on the pitch as well. And he'll have the APOC in the first game to look after his 4 key players as well. So, it'll be interesting to see if Mitch is going for the 1 season, as in the Tom Huns approach, as in to get, blow everybody off the table. Or is he going to go for the 2 season build, from John Reeder's playbook as well? But I like that with the 4 rerolls. Good start.
We know how successful a 2 season build can be. We know that John struggled with his first season and then stormed the second one. So good luck to Mitch on his A&DBBL return. We'll see how those vampires get on. Moving on to Simon and his Wildermere Wasps. Returning for a 3rd season. Simon's back for his 3rd. The Blackhawks are back for their 3rd. Moonface is back again. Sneaky gets sidestep and wrestle there. What I love about this team is that I think from memory, particularly that train troll, I think that train troll got a movement bust quite early on in the previous season.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely just sticking with it. It's got guard. He's happy to keep it in the team. It doesn't even have buckets of casualties. It's got 1 completion to its name. But maybe it's been brought as a pair because Moonface is, and I'm very sorry to Scott Norman, Moonface is one of my favorite goblins that I think we have seen. Scott, looking aside from the troll and the goblin here, those 2 Blackhawks that he's redrafted are not ones to mess with.
No, block with armor 10, always a good a lovely heady combo as well. And my only concern for Simon as well, again, 1 reroll. So that trade-off between that redrafted player with a couple of skills, and there are some random skills in there, that versus the 1 reroll, that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But Simon, I spoke to him last year. We played some Wood Elf matches as well off season, and I think that just cemented his love for all things of pure violence and bash. So good luck on this season, Simon.
Tom, Simon got some good 1-turn touchdowns last season, which may be the reason why Moonface and the Train Troll are back for another one. Blackhawks are an interesting one because I think not everybody has or relies on that threat of the 1-turn touchdown, but having it in his back pocket means that you're never safe with a 1-goal lead.
No, yeah, it's an interesting build. And when I first started with Blood Bowl, obviously you buy the pack and you're like, a bit like the nobility, you're like, these seem to be a bit substandard against the other teams. But this Black Orc team is showing its own really, with all those skills on that goblin, as well as those 2 Black Orcs. Yeah, this is not going to be nice. You say about 1 reroll. He has got pro though on another one, on another Black Orc, so he potentially got 2. But yeah, interesting. That's good luck to him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because pro is probably not a skill you would choose on that Black Orc, but having it makes that Black Orc a tasty little piece to go out there and do some damage. Good luck to you, Simon. no doubt everyone's going to be excited to see what Moonface gets up to in this next season. We move on. We've got 3 teams left, and we go to Harrison and the Los Amazons Dodgers. Harrison dropping Black Orcs that he ran a few seasons in a row. Amazons, just regular Orcs. Apologies. Amazons a very different team, much more agile, dodge everywhere. Will surely be looking to replicate what Tom managed to do with his Amazon team. Tom, coming to you, looking at some of the positionals that he's gone for both blockers, he's gone for both blitzers, he's gone for both throwers, so he's got all the positionals there, and he's gone for 3 rerolls. It is a tasty looking lineup.
Yeah, interesting. He's gone for 2 throwers as well there. A bit like Ash with his chameleons. It's like, do you need 2? But no, that's good. It seems a pretty solid kind of build. It's Amazons are one of those teams, a bit like the Dark Elves, really. They're good straight out of the blocks, really, aren't they? They are a threat both on offense and defense. You just got to be careful of trying to remember what defensive does, because obviously we've got a lot of teams that have redrafted a lot of guard in there. So that's interesting. Hit and run is interesting as well. And also, I didn't realize, but tucked away in the notes of jump up, you can jump up and do a block without that being a blitz.
Yeah,
that's something I wasn't aware of, and that's quite a nice little thing. So if you combine jump up with block, so you can jump up, hit them, and move as well with the hit and run.
Scott, it's a good roster here. Harrison had a unfortunate season with Elves a few seasons ago. He's then had 3 pretty strong seasons with the Orcs. He's now going back to a slightly more agile side. As long as his dice behave with the skills that he's got here from the off, how do you think he'll manage to adapt to that different style of play that he's going to have to do?
I think he'll adapt quite well. I think it's a good opening build for Amazons. Yes, you've only got the 11 players, but we've seen a lot of teams this evening who only have 11 players to start. I think that APOC in the first game is going to be really, really helpful. And as you said, he's got all the right pieces and they've all got dodge. So the only one I think licking their lips against this one is going to be Jamie and his dwarfs. So that'll be interesting. Can't remember the pot, so apologies if I got it wrong. But if they do draw each other, that'll be a really, it'd be go back to that classic dodge versus block. Which one will prevail?
Every season I feel like I jinx Harrison with what he could or couldn't do, so I will just move on, but he knows I want him to do well. Moving on to our penultimate team, and it is our last Dark Elf team that we've got. It is Simon Barnard with the Harlequins coming in. He had a very good guest appearance as a Dark Elf coach last season with some good results and some good fighting out there. And he's decided to stick with them. And this is a very different build to the rest of the Dark Elf builds that we are seeing. He is going for the 1 reroll here. He has gone for both Witch Elves, both blitzers, and both runners. So it's quite different to what we're seeing elsewhere. Scott, going with both Witch Elves out the box, they are the most expensive positional. He's sacrificing some blitzers because of it. Does it show he's maybe going with the 2 Witch Elves and the 2 runners for a slightly different style here? Is he hoping that he can get some funds quicker? He's only got 1 dedicated fan, but the other positionals will be the blitzers are slightly cheaper than the Witch Elves. It's an interesting change.
It is. This isn't sort of one of the standard builds that you would see if you go and you look at, a Dark Elf build as well. So again, take my hat off to Simon. He's really gone almost YOLO for it as well. It's not going to take much to get these up to speed as well in terms of skills. Will that one reroll come back to bite him, though? That's the key concern. I know we had this conversation last year. I spoke to Simon about it because on his Chaos Chosen, he started with one reroll, and that really did put him on the back foot to start with. And, you know, he's already at, what's that, 980? Yeah, so he's got 980 in terms of the treasury, 20k. It's going to be a challenge. And I think in terms of, you know, that dump off, again, it's how you use it when you use it. Because, you know, if you take that dump off skill away, you've just got a movement 7, you know, strength 3, armor 8 piece. So that's basically, you know, your normal vanilla Wood Elf lineman to give it a benchmark as well. So it'll be an interesting one how he plays that. But those 2 Witch Elves, both with, you know, jump up, so they'll get the movement 7, both with frenzy, means you've got a really good controlling piece for the sidelines.
Tom, everyone's going to have to learn how to play elves this season. We've got so many elf teams. We've got 7 elf teams in total. So everyone's going to have to figure out what to do with them all. Is this the elf team, especially out of those 5 dark elves, because he's lent more into those armor 8 pieces? Is this the one that you want out the box? Is this the one that you want as far as the first elf team you've got to play? Because at least you've got more of a chance of breaking some armor here than you have elsewhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd definitely say so. He's just got to be careful with those witch elves because they're a bit like the werewolves in the necromantic team. With that frenzy, they can easily find themselves out alone somewhere on the pitch where the rest of the team aren't there to protect them.
Stuck on the sideline trying to serve someone.
Yeah, exactly. And you can easily be taken out of the game or even gang fouled quite easily on that side of things. So it's a difficult one to see. This season, I think, just looking at the chat, people are asking, this is the most of one particular team we've played in all the leagues, seasons I've played since season 5. So I don't know if there's any more previously to that, but this is the most of one team that we've had. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. Because it'd be good just to see both the fact that we've got teams with similar setups, but we've also got ones that are completely different.
Everybody learn how to play Dark Elves. You've got a few days to figure out what you're going to do against them. Going to the final team then, and the team that gave us the deadline day drama, it is Elliot's. It is a team that he has called I Hate Blood Bowl. He left it down to the gods to see whether he would be playing goblins or dwarfs, and the gods laughed in his face. He is bringing goblins to the season. He has gone for a Pogoer, a Fanatic, a Bomber, a Looney, and he has gone for a 2 Trolls and a Doom Diver. He's got 3 rerolls in there. He is one of the up there on the higher side of the stunty team values. So he's gone he's got everything in there. He's not going to be giving away much as far as inducements go. He's not going to be giving away a huge amount with a team value of 940. I guess the obvious thing to say here, Scott, is that Elliot is a former conference winner. He is a former A&DBBL champion. He is a former finalist as well. Just because he's playing a stunty team doesn't mean he should be underestimated here.
No, and I was just noticing that he's actually got the Doom Diver. If you play the Doom Diver, you know, it does give you a really, really powerful piece towards the end of the game, especially when you're thinking about a 1-turn touchdown as well. Yeah, it's got swoop, so basically you're landing on 2, which is very, very powerful. So I think it's really a very brave and a very commendable team selection. You know, putting from Elliot, putting your hands in the, you know, put your life and your, the hands of your players into the palm of Nuffle and saying, let's go with it, see what it is. 3 rerolls, I think, is going to be a big help. And again, having a bomber on the pitch is always something to give people food for thought. Team value is 940, so against most of the teams you can always bring another bomber on board, can't you? So that's going to be a nice one.
Tom, what do you think?
I think don't write this team off. You know, we've got people who've played goblins before, people are starting to learn little tricks like the ball and chain pushes. You've got, as Scott's quite rightly said, you've got the Doom Diver in there, which I played against a team at Carrot Crunch, and they used that to great effect. Really, really good way of doing one touchdowns. It's going to be an interesting one. He's got, like you say, he's got 3 rerolls, so it's not bad. And also he's got low team value. So he's potentially going to get a nice couple of cheap kind of star players in there. Maybe Fungus the Loon or Bomber Dribble Snot if he needs to. So, or even Skitter. So yeah, I think we know what Elliot is like. He says he hates Blood Bowl, but really he loves it.
It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. It's not the first time that he has done a last-minute change as far as teams goes, and last time he did it, he went and won the conference. So it is not going to be a team to underestimate. That is all of our teams. That is all 32 teams going into this season. Let's just have a little look at that. Those pots again. And gentlemen, it's the last thing that we have to do today. It's the last thing that we do on this first preview episode that we do. We're going to need to make some predictions here. So, Tom, I'm going to come to you first. Who is your conference winner? Who is your league champion? And who is your Stunty Cup?
Ooh,
Stephen has an opinion.
Stephen always has an opinion, yeah. So I would probably say conference champion. Oh God, it's difficult. There's so many good players. That's the problem. I'm actually going to go for. I'm going to go for Jack actually as my conference winner. Because I think he knows that team. So his Norse team, I reckon, is going to do really well. But unfortunately, I think there's more, dare I say it, dangerous players out there. I'm for the league. I'm really not liking the Tipsy Tankards, so I'm potentially going to position them for the league. And for the Stunty Cup, I'm actually going to go for Sir Honkington's Folly.
I've just noticed that in the pots as well, Buffalo Biggins are in there when actually they're no longer Buffalo Biggins. But we'll just replace that with the correct team name later on. Scott, who is your league champion? Who is your conference champion? Who is your Stunty Cup winner?
Thank you, Chris. Just before I do that, there's a comment in chat. Are the pots seeded in order? Oh, then the Cradys has beaten me to it. No, alphabetically. Thank you. Conference, I actually think is going to be Mr. Tom Huns. I think the Elves are a bit more of a two season build. So I think if he's in the conference, I think he'd win that. I think the championship, I'm going to put my money. I know it's out there, but he's not going to like me for it. But I put my money on Luke at the moment. I think the Orphan Gladiators, I think they're looking very, very strong indeed. I think in terms of the Stunty Cup, I can't look past Simon. Well, up until the last team there with Elliot's revelation, I was going to go on Sir Honkington's Folly, but I'd like to see the Gnomes do well. So yeah, I'm going to go for it.
I'm going to try and get through this. Stephen is growling at some kind of bug in the corner. So I think for my conference winner, it's a really tough one because it's kind of like, who do you think will struggle in the group stage, but who do you think will nail a playoff? I'm actually going to put Elf Preservation Society as my conference winner because I think it may take a season to get used to kind of the way that the league develops and kind of the tabletop games and all of that. But by the time they're in playoffs, I think absolutely they'll be in a position to storm it, especially if they've got some good skills on there. So I think a conference winner, Elf Preservation Society. As far as league champions go, I am going to put some faith in Rats, and I'm going to say Disco Danger Rats 2, Electric Boogaloo. If he can get some good first games and get some skills in there, we know that James is very, very good with Skaven. So if he can survive the first stage, I think he could have a very, very good team going into the knockouts. And I think I'm going to have to go for Sir Honkington's Folly for the Stunty Cup. I think Elliot is going to make that very, very tough. I think Elliot's going to make that very, very tough indeed. But Gnomes starting with the amount of skills that they are starting with the amount of dodge that they've got, I think that could be too much, and that could just give. So that is all our teams. That's our predictions made. Those are the seedings. Those are the pots. There is only one thing left, and that is to do the draw, which will come on Saturday morning. You can join us on the stream. We'll be live from just after 10 whenever we've got set up. We will be live in store. We'll be live on the stream. We will do the draw there and then. Everyone will know who they are facing for the group stage for those 7 games. If you are in store, if you can come down to store at any point during that day, coaches will be available. If a coach from your group is there, get a game in nice and early. Hopsters over the road, an approved venue as well, if the shop is full of games. So don't worry about space. It's going to be a great day down there. I am hoping for a very lucky draw that gets me 2 or 3 games in on day one. I'm just raring to get going, and I know lots of people are. That's it from us. Thank you very much,
Chris,
Mr. Brian. Yes.
Was there any comments about mercenaries this season?
There are none. No mercs.
Fine. Just to clarify, in case anyone worries, no mercs.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Thank you, Mr. Hovell. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Roundup. We'll be back next week to round up all of the fixtures, and we will see you for the live draw on Saturday. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then.